This Kid Dynamite's World.com. He's got some good information on it, and I want to point some of the silver bulls in his direction because he makes a lot of sense to me. I never seen his articles before, but he's talking about in this article is from today, January 19, 2012. Paper and physical silver prices are not decoupling yet, and I like his thinking. He's not an anti-silver person now. Not saying that. But the other side is some of these people making it sound like silver is going to go. I think it's going to go very, very high, unexpectedly high. I agree with that. But some of these people are putting out too lofty predictions. And, well, let me just go over what he says here because I think it's excellent. He says the good news for silver knobs just starting to get interested in the precious metals and educating themselves. And he goes, yes, I use that term loosely online, is that there are easy ways to tell which sources have an idea what they are talking about and which sources are just spouting the same crapola that they heard from others spout, joining in the groupthink and living in a land where everybody who doubts that silver is going to $200 an ounce in short order is a bankster shill cartel manipulator. And that's the other side of it too, because I am not that skeptical in some ways. I think it's psychology. There's going to be a panic, and the prices are going to explode. And I think it has to do with the debt crisis more than anything too, and the fact that silver is more affordable by the masses. I think that's what's going to drive it up more than anything. He says you just have to know what to look for because a lot of people are just spouting the same thing. One's repeating one thing from another one. What did this guy say? What did this guy say? And you got to use a little common sense. And sometimes even if silver goes up to these crazy prices, say it does go to crazy price, I think it is due to a panic and a debt crisis. I'm repeating myself, but they used to sell Gorbachev Gorby dolls back at one time, and they were selling for some big bucks, and you wonder why, right? Well, that's just sometimes people get in on it, and that's when you should be selling. Get in when it's cheap, get rid of it when it's high. He goes on to say that one such example of this nonsense is the claim that paper prices and physical prices are decoupling. They're not. They haven't been decoupling. And he says he's covered this before, but they're still not. And I also like to point out, even though mining stocks, well, you know what? They're not all that suppressed. They've been flat this year, but the price of silver's been flat this year too. But a lot of miners did go up a lot during a time when silver was going up, and now they're pretty much, the share prices are holding pretty steady, at least from the ones I'm aware of. But I know the profitability is way up. They are making very, very good money at $30, $40 an ounce. I mean, it was over $40 an ounce a good part of the year. They made very good money in mining, very profitable. So they're getting more and more silver out of the ground. And I know that I talked, this is me, I'm not him, but this is me. I talked about the industrial demand that if silver goes to, so it will go to a crazy price, but it's going to crash after that. It will crash. But he's talking about in the PSLV, and he just did a calculation as to, well, you could do a rough calculation, even dividing this number into that number, the value of the fund, dollar value, and divided by the ounces of silver held in the trust in a fund. You get $30.50 or whatever the heck it is. And he gets at, he calculated $30.44, which was the cost of the silver that Sprott added to the fund. So there really is no variation between the physical price and what's going on with the spot market. And I know eBay sells different prices at different things. Sometimes it's because of collector value or whatever. And Well, personally, if I had a coin that I had coins that were, I didn't buy those kind, but if I had coins that were around spot price and all of a sudden they went with a $20 premium right now, I'd probably be unloading them and just buying Eagles. That's what I would be doing. I wouldn't even be waiting around because I think if silver goes to the really super high prices, I don't think people are going to care too much about, you know, what the coin looks like. I'm not sure about this, but I would think that there's going to be less, it's just going to be a matter, is it silver or isn't it silver? I think that's what's going to happen when it goes to the high prices, unless it's a true numismatic. So if I had, coins that had a premium on them now that didn't have a premium before, I'd be unloading those right now and rebuying Eagles because I think Eagles you're pretty safe with. It's very good for a United States coin, and it's very recognizable and people know it's genuine. This was an article I thought was very interesting. It actually was kind of linked off of something else on his site, but talking about the COMEX silver inventory December 2011. And I know everybody's saying, oh, the COMEX is going to bust. And I remember back in earlier this year, they're talking, oh, the COMEX, the inventories are going down in silver. Oh, they're running out. They're running out. And he talks about, well, this is another article, it's separate. But since peaking at 138.5 million ounces in August 2008, the silver inventory dropped sharply for nearly 3 straight years and bottomed this past June at 98 million ounces. The rapid drop led many silver observers to believe we were at a precipice of a severe supply crunch in silver that would lead to a skyrocketing silver price. And you hear this junk all over. How many times was this rumor repeated? How many times? Unfortunately for the silver bulls, the silver inventory levels started a rapid rise in early June, and by September, that's July of 2011, and by September 2011, had increased nearly 10 million ounces in the COMEX inventory. In December 2011, the COMEX added another 9.1 million ounces of silver and ended the month with 117.3 million ounces of silver. The silver inventory had risen 5 out of the last 6 months. And he goes on to say, oh, I still firmly believe the silver price is manipulated. I do agree with that, too. The rising inventory proves that companies are not having a difficult time sourcing silver. If they were, the COMEX would have been an easy and obvious place to go for the silver. As such, you should not expect the silver price to rise in the near term based on a shortage. Now, I highlighted this big time. It may rise for other reasons, and I think the silver price is going to rise substantially this year. I think it's going to at least double. It's going to break its all-time high. I'm almost 100% sure it is. It's just more of a gut reaction feeling, and I base my feeling upon the fact that this is one of the only, this metal hasn't really broken its all-time high for one, and the fact that people are spending as much money on silver as they are on gold. There's a lot of little people buying silver, so when you add all that up, it's going to put a lot of pressure on the price. And everybody's aware of the debt crisis, so a lot of people are starting to jump on a bandwagon about getting some silver. In other words, and he goes on to say, for those people who want to take the silver manipulation to a new level and think the COMEX is fudging their inventory numbers, ask yourself this: would a company like Brinks, who is one of the 5 COMEX silver depositories, put their reputation and business on the line to help manipulate the price of silver? Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. There's a lot of stuff that there's only so much they can manipulate, And here's the chart of the COMEX silver inventory, and you can see it's gone up quite a bit in the last 6 months. So doesn't look like that's going to break real soon either. But the silver market's very small. There's some people that are big bucks started really diving in this and grabbing this stuff physically. The numbers will drop off like a stone again. But I think this guy's site here, Kid Dynamite, Kid Dynamite's World, whatever the heck it is, he's got some pretty good ideas, and it's he's not anti-silver, but he's kind of pointing out some common sense things, and I personally I like this actually, and he's bought Sprott Silver too. He's in the PSLV. He's long on that. I bought some more of it, and I'll dump 10% that portion I just bought yesterday, whatever that was, the day before yesterday. And as soon as it goes up 10-15%, it's gone. That'll take my gain right there, and I'll hold the core stuff for later on in the year, if I think the price is going to be over $60 an ounce. And I'm going to say one thing. I said this several times before, but I got a lot of respect for the Jewish businessmen. And I know like some people don't like Jews, but sometimes it's because they're freaking smart. They are. Even when they're crooks, they're better crooks. They know how to crook better than their average crook, so people get more mad at them. I think they're smart people, to tell you the truth. And when Mark Farber was given that hour-long thing, I listen to every word that guy says. And it wasn't his recommendation to do this, but he was saying that many of his Jewish friends are very, very lopsided, and his Jewish friends are the ones that are high up in business. So you're talking about the cream of the crop. They're very, very lopsided in their precious metals. A lot of them will have more than 50%, well more than 50% in precious metals, and the stocks, mining stocks of precious metals or related industries. So that gives me a lot of faith in making a decision on going heavy into precious metals. And the other side of it is the debt crisis. All the very smart people like Mark Farber, Jim Rogers will tell you to hold commodities, hold real assets. Mark Farber would say cash, hold cash, pay toilet paper, fiat cash, 25% of that, 25% fiat, 25% precious metals, 25% real estate, 25% stocks. But still, when he's talking stocks and he's talking real estate, you're talking hard assets. So I think, but my emphasis is personally, I am far more lopsided on the precious metals, far more than these supposed giant hedge fund people that know everything. But that tidbit by Mark Farber, that really I focused in on that because I do have a lot of respect for the Jewish businessman that is very much on top of his game. If they're in this stuff very heavily, and I see a reason, I feel like I should be in it because of the debt crisis. If they're in it, and I want to be in it too, they're making the right move. The trick is going to be when the hell to get out. And I definitely don't see silver going to even 5-to-1 to gold. That's way out of line. And people are saying 1-to-1 to gold. Beware. That's my opinion now. It's just my opinion. I think silver's going to go up to at least probably to 15-to-1 to gold. But be careful. I'm not going to be waiting for some pie in the sky prices that are ridiculous out of line, I think, so you could be missing a boat. I could be wrong, but I'm telling you, man, sometimes I wonder about these guys are really pushing the silver too much. And I like the balance this guy gives on his stuff, so I'm gonna keep looking at what he's got to say. I think he's got some pretty good information, and correlating that into other things I can find.